I'm Chris.
I'm Jeffrey.
And this is Kombat Kreations. No, stop. We have totally ditched, we have given up hard hats at this point, and we are not smacking heads together without the hard hats.
No
at least me, I don't want to end up like Jeff. So,
yes, he is.
welcome to season 5 of Kombat Kreations. Now, I know some people out there may be flipping through our YouTube catalog and say, wait, I only see 3 seasons. That's because one of them is secret and lost. But this is still season 5.
We'll find that season sometime soon.
Damn it. All right, and so we had so much fun working on just a specific project last season that we've decided to keep on going with it this season. And actually, last season I was really excited about making the helmets that we made and working on some of that. This season it is hard to contain just how excited I am about this season. I have started this project. I started on and trying to figure out just how to make it work like 20 years ago.
And it's insane because I was actually brainstorming a little bit over the week. I'm like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, because
it's a very interesting technique that you want to.
That's right. All right, so this is real important this season. If you know anybody that's into cosplay, costuming, LARP, My Little Pony, Renfest, point them at our show.
Yes.
Because this season we are attempting to make costuming history. So now whether or not we do it, well, we'll find out as we go. But I think that the engineering is sound, or at least close enough to sound, to do something near what we want to do. Now,
up here?
this is what we're going to do. This is my predictions here. There are 3 things that we are going to accomplish
3 things.
this season that no one has ever done before, to my knowledge. No, I got to throw that out there because as soon as we'll see not even that. There's a 4th thing. So the 4th thing that's just totally different is that we need extra help.
We do. We do.
Really? So we're bringing in Joe Jennings.
Come on in, man.
How? What?
Under the table.
Under the table. All right.
There he goes. There he goes.
Yeah, don't lean on the table, as Robin and crew found out.
Uh-oh.
Because it will fall over.
Everybody, it's our good friend.
This is our friend Joe. He has worked on quite a bit of cosplay stuff in the past, especially some engineering. And so I was just getting around to explaining what it is that we're doing. 3 things that we are doing this season that no one has ever done. Thing number 1. We are producing a dragon ogre.
What?
Dragon ogre.
Kind of like a centaur, which
dragon?
people have done, but a total of 6 legs.
6 legs.
Joe. 6 legs, good.
6 legs.
Does that include the arms?
That does not include the arms.
All right.
That, I guess that technically would make you a spider.
There's that.
That's for somebody else to figure out.
Yes,
so,
please.
thing number
Someone
1,
else.
6 legs. Thing number 2.
Yes.
All of the legs will work properly. They will all move, no motors. When I move a leg, the other legs will respond. They will all move.
Joe.
Sorry, the movement is small or large?
The movement will be enough to walk.
Okay, enough.
Thing number 3. Hopefully, if we've done it correctly, we will be able to take a passenger on our Centaur Dragon Ogre build.
I like this idea. I like this idea a lot.
This is going to be a very
It reminds me
interesting.
of a chariot I
So,
built.
there you go. So let me say that lots of folks have done the Centaur thing before.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are quite a few folks in the costuming community, cosplay and LARP and Renfest and stuff.
Yep.
They have made a Centaur body.
Yeah.
Generally, they come across a couple of problems. number one is how to attach it to themselves, and then number two is the legs themselves. And sometimes legs are static and are drug along, sometimes they're on wheels. Quite often, there are a few designs that are actually mobile. There are some that I've seen that drag along and they walk from the motion of the drag, sort of like the Dutch beach.
Those things are cool.
Yeah, the sculptures, beach sculptures that just roll along the beach. Something akin to that. I have seen where folks have motorized the back legs. There is one particular cosplay group whose name escapes me, my apologies, who did a centaurette from Fantasia.
Oh yeah,
and their legs are motorized and do move completely separate. I don't know that they actually touch the ground, but they do move, and that they actually put out a book on how to do it yourself if you want to reproduce that sort of thing. And all of that is well and good. So the way that we're going to do this is, first off, we're going to add front legs for our legs.
Okay.
Okay.
So in other words, it will not just strap on and be a body that is adding weight to us.
So it's more like
It will be a freestanding structure.
So like an exoskeleton.
Yes.
Okay.
So
okay, I can
and
the
that
person
way-
will be able to get in, and those legs will be over their legs. Got it.
Well,
So it's-
essentially, we'll be
it's a
strapped
leg-
to
It's a
Strap-
leg
okay.
chariot.
something like that.
A leg chariot.
Legs.
Yes.
So
love this.
as the person, in this case me, moves my front legs, that will puppet the other legs to move.
Who's going to be the person?
Me.
You?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been designing this. I'm the ogre. Have you seen this belly? This is the belly of an ogre.
That is
Now,
the belly of
that
an ogre if I've
also-
ever seen one.
I gave him mine. It's okay.
I can tell.
That also, having the legs like that, makes sure that the weight of the thing isn't pulled on me, which is how we should be able to take a passenger, although we'll do it over the middle legs to get a little bit of extra strength. That is not the up and down. That is, all right. And then what we'll have to do is figure out a little bit of some construction with both the hip joints in order to work properly, and then the knee joints in order to work properly. And I've got some, I've got some Lazy Susan hardware that will come into play briefly. But let me kind of sketch out what we've got going on here.
Shiny.
So
Okay.
I'm going to go on this end here so we can kind of see. So you have person with legs. It's a very flat person.
I like
we're
that.
just
Okay.
we're just gonna roll with this.
Let's
So-
take a look over at the sketch over here. These aren't
All
trying to
right.
draw.
So what we're gonna do is the front legs of the structure will be here. We'll have the top of it stretching out, mid legs, rear legs. Okay. Now, since we're freestanding and we're not as worried about weight, we're going to build all of this out of wood.
Okay.
So it will be nice and sturdy and strong.
Okay.
It'll also be cheap because we can use 2x4 for a large portion of the structure.
Got it.
All right.
Plenty of 2x4s.
Right. So some of the hard parts here will be, first off, the hip joint. So everybody's hip does 3 motions because it is a ball socket.
Yep.
It's your hip. You can move your leg around, you can lift it up, down, and you can lift it to the side. Right. So for a long while, when I was designing this, I was trying to figure out a way to do a ball socket sort of a structure in here, which is expensive and hard to do appropriately. So it's hard. That's why we don't get that sort of motion
Yeah.
when with other folks doing centaur type shapes. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to break it down into the 3 motions and build out 3 different parts that work together. Part number 1, the swivel at the top. So you've already been messing. I've got this Lazy Susan hardware. This is for things like initially that you'd set like your spice rack on, and you'd be able to move it around in the drawer and get to your spices, or an actual drawer sort of a
turntable.
shelf unit or something like that.
Or turntable.
Or yeah. This particular one, and
sorry.
this, what I found, I got a set of these, one for each leg, and these can take up to 200 pounds on them. They are.
Oh, wow.
They are good. Yes.
Yes.
And I figured that in doing
2, 4,
this,
6.
this was going to be the expensive part.
10, 12.
These were $1.70 per.
That's 1,200 pounds if we.
Well, yes, spread out across it.
Yeah.
So yes, we should be well under the weight of these things, and so that will provide us with the swivel part. Now, for the up and down and side to side part, here's where the genius comes in.
Here we go.
All right. So what we're going to do is I look towards puppets. And the way puppeteers do puppet eyeballs, they get that two-way motion. So we're going to steal that.
Okay.
This is how they do that.
Stealing that.
This is how they do that. They have a
Theft.
base, right? And then on each side, they'll have a side with a hole in it and a rod through there. Right?
Okay.
And so then you get another one of these.
And these are going to be located right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get another one of these, but the deal is essentially go the other direction, and then one more plate that the leg attaches to. So this is a pivot point, one direction. This is a pivot point, the other direction.
So hinge
On the swivel,
on the swivel.
all combined to make a hip joint.
Okay. I can see that.
Now, these are nice and solid. I think the rods from this will use steel rod.
Yeah, it's doing all thread.
I think that these housings will essentially look like napkin holders sort of things, right?
Okay,
Now, I think
okay.
what we may do is layer up two done out of oak or something like that, so that it's fairly easy. It's still not crazy expensive. It's still easy to mill.
What you can do, and it would be relatively inexpensive in this aspect, is you would do the wood piece like that, and then you would band it with a little bit of metal strapping. Just literally cheap metal strapping.
Okay, just a little bit of a metal. All right.
Yeah, and that would give you the structure that you would need to keep your weight capacity still the same, but it would also keep down your weight.
Sure. At that point, would we have to go to oak for the stability? Now, this is going to be on the legs.
I would definitely recommend
still a good
I would
idea.
definitely recommend oak.
I still
Yeah.
recommend oak because it's a tighter grained wood.
Now, the other piece is, as these metal plates are over this rod, what I was thinking of, here's just a side view of the plate, is to use a metal band that has one of these little loopy deals, and so our center rod goes through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are our standard strips that I've seen at hardware stores for going around pipes and whatnot.
Yep.
So if we have a couple of those on each of these hinges, and then a couple of those on each of these hinges, then that, I think, should give us enough structure and still enough sound enough in order to be able to do this.
Entirely.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so that's the hip. That's the first of our challenges.
Well, that's 1, 2, 3. That's at least six.
Six of those.
8 maybe if you're going crazy.
We're not going crazy. Look, we're so here on Combat.
Okay.
In seasons 1 through 4, we went beyond overkill.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're not up for going crazy, but this season we are ready to go beyond epic.
I just thought you went epic already.
No, well, yeah, but now
Welcome
we're
to
going
Kombat
beyond.
Creations. We
Beyond
can do anything.
All right.
Before the studio burns
So
down.
that's it. That's what will happen at each of the hip joints so that the legs can all move.
Yeah.
Now, to get them working in tandem, so what we'll have
That's the big question I have, because
since we have 6, here's
gonna
the
be-
frame looking down at it. Here's our person at the front, right? So we'll have leg, middle legs, rear legs. Now what we want is not one side to move, because then you fall over.
No, yeah.
Right? So you have to go catty cornered. And what we'll do, what my idea is at the top of each leg, we'll have a little bit of like an oval sort of a loop here stuck into the wood.
Uh-huh.
And a piece of PVC with the ends flattened and a hole through
Okay.
that would latch onto the
Oh.
next leg. So as this top moves, it'll move the cross top the same way. It'll have a little bit of a give.
Okay.
So it's not exactly tight, but we don't want it tight, right?
Yeah.
And then what we'll have to watch for, though, is the cross ones, so they don't bump into each other, will have to be at a slightly lower...
Yeah, I was about to say, we need to be at a slower angle, and then...
Yeah, so one will be up high, one will be a little bit lower, so they have enough room.
They go back
Do we
and
want
forth.
to somehow place a safeguard in that in case something goes haywire?
Like what?
Like some kind of safety mechanism. So, because I'm like, aren't those two gonna hit
Well, that's
each
what I'm
other?
saying is that they'll be
So
at
they'll be a
different
little
levels.
lower.
Most likely be like that far
They'll be
apart.
at different levels, right?
Oh, okay.
And if the end of the PVC that's flattened with a hole in it, whoop, this goes up to PVC, right?
I love the bit.
Right. If it's on something like this that has a little bit of up and down give as well,
Yeah.
even if they bump, they have a little bit of extra leeway built in there that's still not going to bind the legs in moving across each other.
Now,
If we really worry about it, we could put a little bit of Teflon tape.
yeah,
in the
Teflon.
middle.
That's what I was thinking,
Teflon
something
tape would
like
do it,
that.
some type of spray dry lubricant would also do that too. But my concern would be the actual movement, actual part of this, because if you have it linear like that, it may not get the full range of your movement from the front all the way to the back. So you'd have to have an extra little bit of line here to basically attach
It
in.
may,
and
we may
hold
find
it.
that. So I think that the first route, I mean, today we're going to make a frame, but I think that the
Yes.
first route will be to make these hinge joints, and then we'll take a look at exactly how each one moves and what we might need to do in order to tweak it.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
probably right on, and that's why the theory, folks, we're probably doing this. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the idea, and that's for the top leg, right? So the top legs, and then they would go across. So the top leg on this side would move that one and that one.
Yeah.
Now, the next and the last part here
Okay.
is the lower leg. Now the nice thing there is the lower legs have one goal in life. It's to bend.
That's it.
One direction.
Bend and be
that's
stable.
It.
Not the
Not
band.
forward.
Not the
Just
band, right? Not the band. No.
not the band.
Okay.
Not the band, not the band. They just have to bend. And so my idea here, so here's a leg. My idea actually is on the front one to have a hinge. So as my leg is strapped to the lower leg, my leg bending it will bend at the middle like it's supposed to, right?
Yeah.
So the next leg back, still across, right? We'll also have a hinge to do that, but a spring on the back.
Yes, that's what I
There
was
you
about to
go.
ask.
Okay.
So
And that would-
what will happen is we'll have like a little loop and eye and a cable that runs up and across over at the top of the, now this can be up above where, in the frame itself, above where all of this is, so we don't have to worry about it, right? So it'll be a cable that runs back and then down to, still loop and eyes to where it needs to be. Yeah. So when my leg bends, the spring, it will loosen the cabling and pull back because of the spring. When my leg straightens, it'll pull the cabling and should straighten out the leg.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like if we didn't put any springs there, it would make it really hard for that thing to...
No, the one thing I was thinking with this is that if my front leg is like moving off to the side or something, there may be some flex in that cable to where the legs behind may bend, but at the same time, my leg that's moving around won't be on the ground.
Well,
so I'm not sure that we're real worried about that.
And the way you've actually set it up is at least 3 of these legs are going to be on the ground at any one point in time.
Hopefully.
Well, especially for
once we start
these
doing
two always
centaur
will be.
gymnastics and jumping jacks. Yeah, so really, the thing is that I anticipate being able to walk and turn around, although my pivot point may be the middle of the back, I may have to relearn how to turn around.
Yeah.
Right? But the idea being that
thing you guys got
that
the
we
hard
can
hats on.
walk. I think that things like stairs are going to be impossible. Things like being able to run or move quickly is probably going to be out of the picture. The other thing is that with everything free moving, as a safety precaution, we should probably, at the front legs, do some sort of little loop and rod sort of thing to let them stay put. When I step away from the thing, its natural inclination is going to be to collapse.
Yeah.
Right? And so we want it to be able to stay put when I'm not in it so that I can get in it. If that makes sense. And then
Completely
so the
understandable there.
lower
That makes
legs
sense, yeah.
will be strapped, a couple of straps. The upper leg, a loose strap to kind of keep together. But because the upper leg is going to move a little bit different from my upper leg because it's got a 3-part hip joint as opposed to a single-part hip joint, we want a little bit of loose there and probably a belt.
I was going to say a
around
belt
the
that goes
waist
on around the waist. Yeah.
to be able to make sure that I'm staying connected to it.
Yeah, a big, thick Lord's belt would cover most of that, actually.
And we definitely have to look at the portion of the weight from the front all the way to the back because I'm thinking it's going to wobble almost if we did.
We may find that, so, well, we should look at what we're doing here, but I think that with this sort of design, and if we have a little bit of reinforcement right over here over the middle, that's where we get to be able to take somebody. Potentially. We still may get to a point and decide, yeah, no, we ain't taking anybody on this. But if we
one heck of a
can,
ride, though.
if we can, it would be over the center, which wouldn't pull down on me and would be over some legs as an extra point of security for the rider.
So when does the demon come out with all this?
Oh man, yeah,
This
is all us.
Well, I definitely think we got our hands full in this one, and I'm really looking forward to see where this ends
Now,
up.
the other
I
piece
like this
is
idea.
that being a dragon, there would be a tail here that I want to add. That would be have a couple of motors and to have an actual tail.
I definitely know how to make those tails to where they can motion.
I've been wanting to do one. I've been
seeing
wanting to do
little,
some.
diagrams of some that make it do that swishy motion. It's, oh my gosh.
I've
Oh my
wanted to
gosh.
do some that are tails. I've wanted to do some that are a little more random as tentacles. But we'll start with tail, and in actuality, we'll start with look, chaos, man. Chaos is cool. Tentacles.
said
There's
the T
nothing
word.
wrong with a tentacle. Nothing wrong with a tentacle. Show you a tentacle. So this is the plan.
You're making it worse, dude.
All right, and so I've started measuring things out, and so width-wise, I was measuring across my hips, and probably just a little beyond that, just to have a little more stability. So even if the front legs line up with mine a little bit inside, the side legs here and the rear legs will be at the
how
edge.
much space did you give? Extra space did you give that?
Not a huge amount, but we'll see. And
Keep in mind the padding for yourself, because this is still hard wood that's being strapped to you.
I'm aware.
And
aware.
The last thing you want is blisters and all sorts of stuff on you.
Blisters,
Butt
thorns,
Yeah.
Gotta watch out for the butt blisters.
Padding is
butt blisters,
And so
butt blisters.
length here, I went with about 3.5 feet. This is going to be the length of it. And at first, in looking at it, I think that doesn't seem very long. But when you look at it, let's see if the camera, look out, man. If you look at that off of me, that is, I think that's a good proportion. I was also kind of thinking that the lower leg would end up having a little bit of a platform when we get to it.
How high are we? We're having this waist high,
Yeah,
correct?
waist
It would be waist high, but that's the thing. If the lower leg, if we do a little bit of a platform to be able to build monster feet off of it, that I think that the proportion still works a little bit. But even if we don't, and even if it's just at the same ground here, it's still, I think it's still an okay proportion.
If you need more height and stuff like that from the frame, you can always mount more like decorative type stuff someone to sit on if we're a rider or
Sure.
And it would fill it out in that aspect. But the frame is actually more important at this point.
Right. So for framing, I've got some side pieces here. I've got some end pieces, and I've got a couple of pieces in the middle to help. Because as these get mounted, they'll need some extra cross beams for some support. So the idea that we're going to jump into here is we're going to take, feel free to draw. So we're going to take an end piece, and then we're going to attach it there.
I should have brought my squares.
Squares, well,
How long are you wanting this tail if we do a tail?
I don't know. It has to hit the ground.
Definitely. Do you want it to slide on the ground on its own?
Probably 3 feet, 3.5
So-
I'm almost thinking like a layer.
Yeah, at least a 3-foot hang. That's how you mean like 6-foot tail.
What I'm doing here, now that I'm getting real loud, is putting in a couple of quick pilot holes. And I've got some wood screws. Realistically, it's probably best if I had some wood glue as well. We're going to roll without for right now, just in the event that we have to.
Wood fasteners actually have a holding capacity of 300 pounds per square.
All right, so you're saying we're good.
As long as you get it 3/4 of the way in on the end piece over here, you'll be fine.
See, this is why we have Joe around. Ugh.
I've been doing a lot of carpentry lately, so I have to worry about weights and
All right.
sorts of load-bearing structures and stuff.
And this is definitely a load-bearing structure.
Yes. I really want to see someone get on this. So I really want to. I actually want to see this.
All right, so let's
Ooh, I like this idea.
let's move these aside.
Cross beams.
Well, we just set those wherever we can set those for now.
Out of the way.
That's right. We'll add a couple more pilot holes here.
Please don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. If you've seen this show before, and you've seen Jeff hurt himself every single time we even look at a hot glue gun,
Nope.
you'll
Do not
notice
like hot glue
that
gun.
we're not letting Jeff play with the drill.
I mean, I've used power tools before, but no. If it's hot glue, no. Done.
So
That's,
this is okay, but a hot glue is bad.
Yeah, I've used power tools before. I can do that. I'm designing a tail that could actually work.
Now, if I really wanted to be nice and pretty, I would give these holes a little bit of a countersink, but I think the wood, it's just 2x4 wood, so it's soft enough that we can just kind of screw in there and not worry too much about it.
on to the next. To the next.
All right. This round.
Does that look good?
Yeah.
I'm liking the tail design already. Must hold perfectly still.
Yeah, what I need is a quick change, but at least I don't have a chuck key to worry about with this one.
Remind me, I might bring my other stuff.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
The quiet version of this.
I know, yeah.
You know, sometimes we're not loud and obnoxious. I mean, well, sometimes we're not loud. I've no doubt we're still obnoxious.
All right.
Up there.
Yep.
All right. So now the next bit is we've got those, our extra
I've been
pieces.
framed. I've been framed. Sorry.
Yep, Joe's been framed. All right, lay it down. So we've got our extra pieces. What I want to make sure is that if we mount this up to a corner here, that we have a cross piece on either end to fit, and then with the other two cross pieces, we'll decide where to put that middle leg. And these should be pretty snug.
That is a definite confirm on that one.
That's okay. We'll just tap it into
I
place.
think I got your tail. If I've done a tail before like this,
Okay.
to where you can do like metal plating and just have it flying out, and then you can weave through with wire, like really sturdy wire, and have a spring underneath to where you
Check
can
this out.
attach it.
Check this out. So we have that, and we have a core that a central piece comes through.
Okay.
We've got little holes on the side. 2 of these, and then we've got, those are flat. So we've got one of those with the center core, center core, center core, center core, spread out. This center core stays through all of them.
Got it.
2 of these holes, we've got static cord just to keep it still. The other 2, well, which would be here, loop around and run to a motor.
Okay, so it's always constantly.
So now the neat thing is, if we take this design and do it again down the way, the second half can run through the center and then out and down the second half, and you've got 2 motors going, so you've got a whole swish, a 2-motion swish going on.
And that's okay. Because that's the one piece I was trying to figure out. I was like, you can, as I know how to do the plating and such and how to make it look like a tail, but that was the one piece of how do we make it so it does
What I'm
that.
thinking is, right around here, so we have something to bonk that into.
Okay.
Something to remember where we're putting it.
Yep.
Last thing is forgetting, and yes, you're going to have to bang these in.
So if you guys are just tuning in, we're Kombat Kreations, where we take everyday household items and try to create our own devices and such. This season, season 5, we are trying to do a little something different to where we're going to be creating one of Chris's dreams from like D&D forever ago. 20 years he's been trying to figure out how to do this, and we're finally going to make it. And it's called a Dragon Ogre. If you get a chance, check out this little sketch that we have here that is a little bit of a rough draft of what we want to kind of go for. So it's definitely.
Well, let's put this one in first, and then.
This is basically where the person's going to be standing right here, and they're going to have the front legs attached, the middle legs, and a back leg. So there's 6 legs in total with a operating working tail and everything. So Chris is going to be over here, and we're going to have this, and hope potentially. May not happen, may happen. We're gonna try to have it to where a person can be on there when he's moving around. So it's a lot of interesting stuff, and we're hoping to make cosplay history with this.
Hoping. We're doing.
It'll definitely be very interesting to see.
If
I would
nothing else,
love.
at least the
Getting
attention.
Can I just say how much I would love being in a D&D setting or like a Renaissance fair and just like looking up and seeing a Dragon Ogre? I would flip.
All right. Whip it.
So we're just building the frame right now. That is going to be a very heavy frame.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it's got to be heavy to an extent. Because you got to be able to support weight.
Exactly.
It's going to be sturdy, is what it's going to be. When I was younger, my mom said, "Boy, are you sturdy." Okay, maybe not. All right. And so the other thing is, so if we have one of these, let's mark F for front. We'll just call this the front.
All right.
We'll call this
Designations are done.
back.
All right, so we do the same thing on this side as well.
That's the idea, and it'll have one of these as well. So, so same spacing,
Okay.
and then we'll figure out where the
About a foot or
Are-
an inch.
Are we wanting direct middle or slightly off direct middle?
I think we should have slightly off to kind of balance it because you have a lot of weight going to be up here, but you also want to balance it out to where there's a lot of weight.
Like a trailer, where you pack a trailer in the back.
No, I've never worked with wood before. There you go.
We don't even need screws in that one.
Oh God!
You want to-
Safety first, kids.
Please,
We also want to tell the viewers at home, if you're under the age of 18, please, when you already anytime wearing using power tools, have someone there, because you never know.
There, take it.
It's dangerous out there. Safety first. Oh, the table.
Yeah, I'm trying not to put down.
Down is okay. It's wobbling the table that
Oh, okay.
that we have. I think the other bit too. It's wobbling the table that we don't want to do.
Okay.
That was discovered.
Oh yeah, that was by the podcast girls. Mary Sue.
All right, and we can flip it over.
Aha, it's getting a lot heavier now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all the more reason to have it hold itself up.
Yes, because the last thing you want to do is hold it yourself. The smell of freshly cut wood. All right.
Cool.
There we go.
You know, in thinking about the center, I didn't bring any sort of a measuring device, but I suppose we can just eyeball where we want that other leg. And so the last two will both go in where we want the other leg, separated that much, so that it has spaces.
Real quick, Chris, just kind of stand to the center right there. I want to see how far out this is going. So, wow. Right there. This is gonna go pretty far out here. All right. Gosh, this is awesome.
All right, so actually,
Well, we could, we don't necessarily need it to go that far out if we were just going with Epic. But if we're moving on, we need it to go a little further.
Yeah, entirely.
so that's about 2 foot right here.
Right. Well, I mean, at this
Roughly.
point, we could just eyeball
Right here.
one of them and decide where where we want it.
It's roughly about 2 feet.
So if this is the
Do it by
front,
hand. I don't know what you cut these at. There
um,
are 2 planks.
These are like 3 feet, or this is foot each.
they should be about 15 each.
15 each.
About 15 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, but right there.
Yeah.
But we want it off a little bit so it's more weights on the back end.
Are we
That's
putting
fine.
both these here? Or?
Yeah. So they're
Okay.
both they're going to do this same sort of design.
Okay. Step back and look at it. See. That's actually really good right there, especially.
Yeah, I think right where they are.
Yeah.
Well, they need to be they need to be this far apart.
Yeah, the device has got to go.
There you go.
Right
Yeah.
There. So.
Okay.
But yeah, looking backwards. Yeah, no, that looks good.
Now, at this point, these may have a little more trouble getting popped into place. Then I may have to.
Do we bring a mallet? Do we have a mallet?
You have a Joe. That's what you have.
I like the Joe.
There's a saying amongst armor makers: if brute force isn't working, you're not using enough. Hey, do we want to? Okay. I was gonna say maybe we should put this one in place before we accidentally bump it out of the way.
Yeah.
But
It's making its own space.
you know, part of me says, I wonder where exactly we want this leg, and the other part of me says it's gonna be there.
Yes.
'Cause that's where we got the board.
There we go. And I think it's a good good space
It looks
in
pretty
between.
Even. It
Yeah.
looks pretty even. So, one thing I love about the human eye is it can see symmetry pretty quickly. When something's asymmetrical, you can kind of identify as something's kind of off on it.
I'm asymmetrical.
What's the bizarre?
All right.
If I said this will make a great tiny wall.
Oh yeah.
Let's not use this one. That's at a weird angle.
What
Jeff, I don't know what you're doing with the screws over there,
happened?
but you really need to stop with that one.
There we go.
All right.
Remember, someone's got to drive home.
Nah.
Chill.
Valerie's here. She can drive me.
There we go. So if everyone's tuning in, I'm Jeffrey. This is Chris here. We're the host of Kombat Kreations. We have our special guest, Joe. We've known Joe for quite a millennia, basically. We used to do LARP.
We haven't been alive for a millennia.
We can't.
I'm not that old. Give me the screws.
Here you go.
I would tell you how long I'm pretty sure I've known you. And I've known you for at least 10 years.
about 10 years now, yeah. Oh, that noise.
It's a noise.
It's
You
only
like
gonna
that?
get worse.
I don't like that noise.
It's only gonna
I
get worse.
personally do not like it. All right.
It's okay.
Switch.
Switch.
We haven't done that in a long while. Oh. Ripple.
One of us will do it.
We used to do ZBG games. That was a lot of fun. We were all I just realized us three were all Magisters
Yes.
back then at
Yes.
Traders Crossing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And now we're performing magic with wood.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do all four.
Yeah, do all 4 of them. Save us some time so we don't have to switch back and forth.
That's crazy talk.
You gotta save yourself time. Wait, never mind. You gotta calculate in your coffee break and the
Yeah.
the sit down break and the go out and walk around and worry
You're
about what's going
describing
on.
my entire workday.
I did spend a good portion of today watching.
Reddit's not gonna read itself, damn it.
I thought it did. That's why it's Reddit. It's not Reddit. It's Reddit. It's already read itself.
Look. Somebody at work asked me, "What time do you go home?" And I said, "When
Generally,
everybody stops looking."
All right,
Funny
let's
is when
feel.
I'm making cosplay. Generally, at this point, when I put something together, I have to take it
Let's get
apart.
weight.
So, yeah, so we'll have this, and in fact, I have the other ones. We can kind of lay it out here.
And
I
the
don't
hardware comes
necessarily-
out.
I don't want to attach these just yet.
No.
I think
No,
it
no,
might
no,
be
you-
easier for us to finish off the
No, you do
joint
Yeah,
creation.
you do the frame, do the top frame, and then you create the legs next, and then you put them together after you get everything kind of working.
All right. I know.
Sorry.
Now, one thing I've noticed is that this side, we're a little off on here. Can we flip it over and see if it's a little smoother around? Just it's going to be easier for the
No.
legs.
Still.
Sorry. I
That's okay.
do as best I can.
No, it's okay. See, at least that way, maybe I could put a little shim under
Well,
one.
what you can do, since it's all together already, is you can actually take those 2 end screws out,
Yeah,
kick it up, kick that board up a little bit, and they'll even out that end.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Remember
the
what I was
rest
saying
of
a
them,
second ago? Usually at this point I have to
the
take it
rest
apart.
of them are all looking good, right?
Yeah, entirely.
Yeah, it's just that one.
All right, so
I
let me
think-
go ahead and fix that one. We got a little bit of time, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, so that's my.
Set phasers on. Back it up.
Back it up.
Whoa. Backed it up real good. Like at the club the other night.
You go clubbing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for little baby seals, right?
Yeah.
All right, I moved it up just a little bit. There we go.
I'm gonna blame the table.
Yeah, that's all right.
Might want to redo this because there is a gap in between there, and that always worries me.
Mind the gap. No, the edge of the 2x4 has a little bit of a rounded
Yeah,
edge,
it's
and
cra-
that's
it's crowned.
see the rest of this is
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, you're gonna be fine.
And the thing is, if you're really worried about that, what we can do is we can pull this screw out a little bit, clamp
Yeah,
it
I'm
together,
not-
and then just.
I'm not
screw it back
real
in.
worried
But
about
it's
it.
not that big of a deal.
In fact, with other woodworking type stuff, we might even use a little bit of wood glue in here. Like we were saying earlier, these screws are going to be just fine for what we're doing.
Overall, this is going to be an awesome project. I can already see it getting worked into and
So
such like
legs
that.
are going to go here.
Yep.
And they're going to swivel back and forth.
And so the hip joints, I want to try and keep it small,
Yeah.
right? Because I still want to use 2x4 for the actual legs. I'm not real worried about bulking it out for costume purposes because what we're doing is we're making the skeleton for this thing,
Okay.
right? And so down the way, either next season or maybe off camera sort of thing, we'll actually skin it essentially.
Yeah.
So, but this is, I think, for our show and purposes and seeing it, this is going to be the important part for everybody to see, so that the next time we go to cons, everybody's in cool centaur. Now, but I want to see lots of centaurs and dragon ogres.
I might be
all
able to
for my
make that happen,
design.
sadly enough.
That I'm telling you, after this season, if we can do this proper, the next My Little Pony convention, nothing but ponies.
There's already nothing but ponies.
Yeah, but like,
I know.
with working legs and stuff.
I'm a little concerned, but we'll see what happens.
All right. So yeah, so
All right.
so they've got these mounting points. So basically, the first hinge will go right across here, and ultimately, the side-to-side motion. You can whisper all you want. The mics are picking you up.
I know, right?
Ridiculous. So the side-to-side motion doesn't have to be crazy big. My legs don't really go that. I don't want the centaur to do the splits.
Yeah.
I really don't want that to happen.
No.
I
No,
can't
no,
tell you
Just
how
walk
much
it.
We don't want a dancing centaur.
Woo, well, no, well, stop. Stop right there. I'm cool with dancing,
no.
but I don't want
No,
to.
no. Okay, let's read. We don't want a break dancing centaur. We want more of a soft shoe.
I don't want the. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't want the frame breaking me.
In reality, with
But-
these, you'll be moving this leg, this one moves, and this one moves. And if you move this one, here. And so when you bend your legs, are they supposed to be, they're going to be able to bend as well?
Right, because of the springs. And,
Got it. Okay.
and-
Wow, this is, okay, this is going to be very interesting.
If we're running the cabling through for the legs, we can run it up and maybe put a hole in here and cord the cabling where it needs to be to a similar hole in here as a channel, so it stays completely separate of where the they're going to be. And then, yeah, person sitting over this central spot.
Whenever you skin, you should make a saddle for it.
Well, when skinning it, what would probably be a good additional piece is over this center part where someone's going to sit, is to take a thinner board, just a little bit of plywood, and make kind of a flatter surface to help spread out the weight just a little bit. Now, it is kind of on the wider side because it's going across you, so somebody's, it's going to be, I don't know about horse width or if it's, wider, narrower.
They
but
can always side saddle it.
I suppose
And then that way you can get
that's a
two people.
possibility.
We'll just build a little staircase for them to get hop on and
staircase.
Oh,
As I walk around, hi, con goer, let me throw you the rope.
That's not the first
this is gonna be so
Just have
cool.
some ropes hanging off of it, and walk around the con with random small people climbing up and. Now,
Oh gosh.
So yeah, weight-wise. So once we get it actually working, the I think that the weight should be okay, depending again on exactly how we've got the things working on the hip joints to take a person. But what we'll need to figure out is we'll need to start with somebody light.
Yes.
And kind of play with it, or maybe add some weight that's not a person, and see.
Light. That's
And see
I am 154
just kinda
pounds.
what it does, and if it's harder to walk with the weight on the center, if it does weird things and off balances and stuff like that. But at that point, once we know the extent of it, then it'll be a little easier
again, You're working with almost a milk stool type leg system, because 3 legs will always be down, while 3 legs
Right.
will be in
Right.
motion versus the other. So it's going to rock back and forth.
With this much space,
Yeah.
the 3 down, I think it's still going to have enough stability.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next episode of the show in 2 weeks will be all about hip joints.
All about hip joints.
All about hip
so what we'll
joints.
do is between now and then, I will make some of our little
Real
napkin.
Kombat Kreations.
I'll make some of our little napkin holder deals and some bases that we can then attach to here, and then work it, a couple of those up. So it might actually be, so big, which obviously is bigger than my hip joint, and another reason to have the upper leg more loosely held. But I still think that it will function like we want to.
Yeah.
Should. No,
Hopefully.
that hip joint is spectacularly idealistic.
It works for puppets.
It works for puppets, and most
If
likely
it works for puppets, it's gotta work for people.
These take 200 pounds. This is like 150 weight capacity in itself. So you're looking roughly about 160, 100, almost 200 pounds in its own. If it can help, if the legs can hold that, you'll be golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be golden with the rider.
Yeah.
So I like
So what
that.
we'll do is I'll put together assemble all the pieces for that, cut stuff out for the next time, and then what we'll do is we'll start assembling. Once we've assembled one and know that it's doing what we want, we can go ahead and put the rest together, attach it down to here. Maybe not with the legs just yet, just the hip joints. So we'll work on the hip joints. And so that'll be in the next show, which is 2 weeks from now. And then after that, we'll add legs and connect them, and then we'll move on to lower legs and deal with tail and testing and all of that sort of thing.
Once you get it all done, we'll have a skeleton of a centaur.
Yeah.
Of an ogre dragon.
That's it.
Dragon ogre.
Skeleton.
This is, I love this.
right.
Diabolical
Yeah, so
plans are in motion.
So as I was saying,
reanimate.
Our next show will be in 2 weeks. This season we're
2 weeks.
going back and forth. Next week will be Brad's Red Web here at the same time that we're doing another one of Kaiju Media Lab's shows. And then we'll be back to do more. And the rest of the season from now through at least the first part of December, we'll go back and forth like that.
Yep.
And we should finish this out in time for a good Christmas break. At which point I will wander around with this thing. So down the street from the studio, there are a lot of folks that like to hang out outside. They're hanging around a bus terminal. They just chill. What would be great is to then go walking by in full Dragon Ogre, and they will be second guessing.
We
Studio folks
have a
down
thing here
there.
in Austin. We say keep Austin weird, and that's the definition right there.
is when we finish it and it's working, we should wander around some of the spots and just get somebody kind of filming from a distance and see
I know
just
where
how
we
many
can go.
people.
I know where we can go.
I think that's gonna be a great idea.
I know where
But-
we can go. It would be really cool too.
There you
Good,
go.
good. Overall, I think this is going to be a really great project that we got under hands. I'm looking forward to see what the outcome of this is in the end. And not only that, once we get the skeleton, I'm pretty sure this is going to work, but I'm really looking forward to also not just this project, but also the costuming that's going to go with this.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
the other half of I'm
So
seeing what it could possibly be
And the
after
nice
you get the
thing
skeleton
is,
working.
These being so cheap, these were what I was worried about being pricey in order to be able to have the weight and be the size that they were and just the hardware.
But these hold up to 200 pounds each.
Yes, and they were real cheap. So looking at the other hardware, I mean, a little bit of oak, that's not bad, and some steel rod that I probably even have around the house, but would just be a couple bucks if I needed to purchase it. Some hinges are cheap, some springs are cheap, some cording is cheap. So overall, this is actually a very,
Low budget piece.
Yeah,
It just takes a lot of time and effort to put into it.
Last season, we made foam helms, and we were talking about some of the costs involved, and looking at using some of the professional materials in order to do it, being not quite that far off from just doing it with the non-professional materials, and so with this, it looks like something that would be big, impressive, and I was worried about the cost involved in this, but the actuality is that it's real cheap, especially since we're able to use 2x4 material for that.
Yep.
It's going to be real doable. So even if you're looking at something like this and you're not looking at, say, a dragon ogre with 6 legs, you still be able to do the same thing with 4 legs.
Yeah.
For something like My Little Pony or centaurs or various fairy folk and things like that. Whatever your costuming needs are. and then we can stop having wheels on centaur legs. There's no need for that. We fixed it. We've solved the problem.
We did at a cheap rate. And that's what Kombat Kreations is all about. It's just making items at the cheapest rate we possibly can and see what happens. And
yeah, so
this is gonna be an awesome project.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks.
With the hinge joints. Tell your friends this is where to watch it. Say, whoa, those guys are making history. You're seeing part of it now. They can see the rest of it if they start tuning in. Come back next week for some more Kaiju Media. We'll see you when we see you, and continue
crafting. This is awesome. This is